We should be happy.
And this being day 2 of the Mythical Linturi case versus Miriam Keitani, let's briefly cross over to the court and appreciate what has been happening from this venue this far. And in line with our conversation right here in studio, utilization of funds is predominantly what we're discussing right here on the Daily Brief. Let's cross over to the Senate, where its Select Committee on Public Accounts and Investments is this morning listening in or querying Nandi County Governor, that is Stephen Sang, of audit or queries within the period of 2017-2018. Let's listen in.
The auditor's report, page 4.
Yes.
Yes. Development, budget control and performance.
Okay, Chair. Budget control and performance, 1.1, development and recurrent budget combined. During the year under review, the County Executive of Nandi had a total revised budget of Kenyan shillings 6,782,834,317 as per the County Appropriation Bill number 1 of 2018, comprising of Kenya shillings 2,095,910,112 for development and Kenya shillings 4,627,924,205 for recurrent expenditure. However, the summary statement of appropriation, recurrent and development combined, reflected a total final budget figure of Kenya shillings 6,840,643,830, comprising of Kenya shillings 4,744,344,003 for recurrent and Kenya shillings 2,096,299,827 for development expenditure, resulting to an explained or unreconciled difference of Kenya shillings 57,809,513. Further, the budget reflected overall and absorption of Kenya shillings 2,477,565,840 as summarized. Okay. The underabsorption is an indication that activities and projects planned for were implemented and is likely to have a negative effect on the delivery of goods and services to the residents of the county. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
So, Chair, that particular query has two components. There is the first one of the unreconciled, and there is the one on underabsorption. If you can allow me, Chair, to start with the second one first of the underabsorption, then I come to the one on
This is your response page.
Yeah, that is page 15. The management response on page 15.
15 here, we have leased hospital equipment from national government. Huh?
I can see page 7.
Page 9.
Page 9.
Page 9, yes. The recurrent vote.
I can see it on page 7.
The low absorption.
Huh?
Page 9, the one on low absorption.
You know, Governor, it looks like your CPAs are disorganized, and like we have recommended time and again, we will be lighting to ice pack, because these are professionals who are at their body that is professional, and questioning the way they are doing things.
The recurrent vote.
Are we talking?
Yeah, on recurrent vote, the management response. And this is to explain the low absorption in the budget was caused by the delay in the budget approval process. The County Assembly approved the 2017-2018 budget estimates with a number of errors, which led to the Office of the Controller of Budget rejecting the budget. For instance, appropriating conditional funds contrary to the conditions tied to the funds. This prompted the county treasury to write a sessional paper to the County Assembly allowing the treasury to redo and revise the entire budget in November to make it implementable. This therefore caused a delay in the execution of the entire budget. You will realize that, Chair, this is the budget, the period under review is 2017-2018. When we came in, the budget had been, the previous assembly had approved the budget. And they approved a budget that had a lot of errors, and the Auditor General, the Controller of Budget, rejected the budget. So we had to sort of redo the budget as afresh and start the process. That is why, by the time we were done with the process of doing the budget, it appeared as if we were doing the budget afresh. Then we started the procurement process. That is why the absorption at the end of the day was low, because we had that problem of redoing the budget. Subsequently, we had a few other supplementary budgets to address a number of those issues, and this was the first budget that we were handling as a county government. So that explains the low absorption at that particular time. But if you look at the absorption rate, subsequently, we have been able to improve on that particular one.
Or was the error deliberate? Because when you talk about errors, somebody would have picked it, because that was the final year the MCAs were making the budget. They had an experience of making a budget for 4 years. So how come that just at the tail end they are making errors on a budget to the extent that it was declined by the control of budget?
The specific challenge on this one is that they appropriated conditional funds. A conditional fund comes with specific conditions that this is going to address this kind of a project. But of course, knowing that it was a political year, what in our case was done is that monies that were conditional grants to certain areas that MCAs then didn't think that it was going to be useful to them politically, they decided to appropriate those funds to more, politically catchy projects. But then that was not going to be the case, because the auditor, the controller of budget could not allow, because conditional grants, as you all know, is specific to the various projects. So that is why we ended up having to almost redo the budget afresh. And of course, for us also, it worked for us as a county government, because then we had to now do a budget that was our own. It was almost like we were doing our own budget. So that worked.
Senator?
Chair, maybe this leads us. That's why we should look at 16-17, which was a transitional year, and so many things happened, especially where we have now a new governor and the other outgoing governor. And Chair, you'll remember this is the county where all MCAs went home.
Not all of them. A majority.
Majority of the
we still have
MCA
quite,
then
yeah.
from the governor and senator. Yeah, but Chair, so
And
what
the
I
senator
wanted
didn't
to
go home.
emphasize, what I wanted to emphasize is the 16-17, because this is an indicator that there was a lot of anomalies on the transitional year. The audit.
Like we have agreed, is with the substantive shares.
And those are the sittings between the Senate's Public Accounts and Investments Committee together with the county government of Nandi, headed by the governor there, Stephen Sang. They are probing audit queries, especially within the periods of 2017-2018. And we shall keep interacting with that particular event, if not during the daily brief, then during our subsequent bulletins right here at K24 TV. Still discussing matters to do or emerging issues courtesy of the stalemate over the Division of Revenue Bill 2019 or 2020. And I'd like to come to you, Dr. Stanley. Is our problem implementation? Or before I even get there, crafters of the Constitution envisioned a point, and even as we promulgated the 2010 document, we envisioned a point whereby counties will at least be self-reliant to some extent. And this is a concern that has been expressed by Principal Secretary Devolution Charles Sunkuli. How come since 2013 till now, we are yet to become self-reliant as counties?
There is many things that need to be, it should be like the law should be followed. The systems should be automated. That by the click, and that's how devolution will work. Where the money, when the money is set, is there, is supposed to be paid to the counties. There is no any discussions. It should be there, and it should be prompt. The biggest challenge you have even for devolution, you'll see people in national government, they get paid their salaries, and then you see people in the counties are not paid. Why? It should be an automated system, now that we are talking everything about automation, that you don't need a lot of human interference and frustrating governors and all the other people at the county level, because you're frustrating many other people. So it should be, as per the Constitution, if it's supposed to be 15%, let it be automated. This is the whole cake, this is supposed to go, this is the formula. When it reaches, if it's supposed to be on date 24th of every month, let that money be there and be sent. Then the governors can be able, then accountability, then the rest of the things we will. Because what's the biggest challenge and about the public theft is when you hold the money for the counties and then you release the money on June 25th. Seriously, already there, and then governors will be called here every day to explain why did they not follow the law, procurement law. Because for any government service to happen and to be paid, procurement takes minimum 21 days, the procurement process. Then if you're going to do a road or to do a class or to supply a service, it will take another 30 days, minimum. If it's a road, it's more time. Then already that one, that time, by the time you do that process, you will discover nothing will happen. So devolution will continue being stifled. The idea behind the devolution and empowering our people will not happen.
So
but
basically,
it's all about our own makeup, because we are refusing to work. We are refusing to think. Yet it is possible.
And let's just cross over before we probe this issue further. We've got the Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture giving a press briefing from Mombasa County. Let's cross over and listen into what Andrew Twimur has to say.
So these regulations will help us because it will streamline the agriculture industry. It will streamline, remember when agriculture was devolved, 80% of the functions went to the counties. So these regulations we are doing is in consultation with the county government so that we agree on what are the best ways to ensure that the farmers the farmers actually benefit and are not exploited, but particularly by the middlemen. Last week when we were here, I think we mentioned to you about the Irish potato regulations that are now being implemented. The coffee regulations are also ready and are also being implemented. And the Irish potato regulations, for instance, has enabled us to ensure that the 50-kilogram bag is effective, because they used to exploit by the big bag, which was almost 90 kilos, which by law is not allowed. A human being cannot carry about 90 kilos. And that 90 kilos, the price they were being offered was low. So these regulations will help to spur the industry. They will help to streamline the industry. They'll also help the trade in terms of trade, so that the farmers can actually benefit. And we are consulting here today with the Parliamentary Committee on the legislative delegated legislation, which is, of course, apart from oversight activities, they are our major stakeholder, and that's why we are here with them today to look at these draft regulations that are remaining so that we can agree on the way forward.
There were some concerns with some of the MPs saying that some of the regulation might be hindering some of the small scale traders. Maybe have you come to a consensus with them, or maybe we are going to work with the drawing board to make sure that everything is at hand?
What we want to do with these regulations, and that's why we are here today, is to make them as simple as possible to the farmer, and that it doesn't hurt any farmer, whether small scale or large scale. And that's why we're getting views. We've already got a lot of views from all the other stakeholders. We're also getting the views of the Parliamentary Committee today, and we will consider all that, so that nobody is left out in these regulations.
There are those who argue that the nuts and oil regulation actually compare nut farmers not to perhaps do harvesting without getting permission from the farmer. I don't know whether is it part of the discussion that you are trying to have, suitable.
Yeah, what we are looking at is the regulations in general in terms of production, quality. What we are saying is that, for instance, if we are talking about macadamia nuts, some of these regulations are addressing the issues that people harvest immature nuts. And that means the farmer is actually getting at a loss. So these are some of the issues that we are addressing here, so that the farmer is not exploited. But we are not saying that we are going to be prohibiting people from harvesting, but we want to tell them this is the time you should harvest, and so that you get maximum out of the crop.
So maybe should we expect regulations to be
Sorry?
How soon should we expect the process to happen?
Some already are in place. The Irish potato regulation is in place. The coffee regulation is in place. These ones, as soon as we agree with the Parliamentary Committee, they will go to the Attorney General, and then they go for gazettement. So we want to see if we can finish these regulations hopefully before the end of the year.
And that is Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture. That is Dr. Andrew Twimur there, giving a press briefing from Mombasa County. Earlier, we were expecting the Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri to be headed there. It's all about, a stock take and a conference on especially tea and coffee that was supposed to happen in Mombasa, and as we can see, it's underway, and presiding over is the Chief Administrative Secretary in that particular ministry. So let's move on with our conversation right here in studio. And Dr. Stanley Karanja earlier on alluded to the fact that if we were to automate our systems in the country, then maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't be in this kind of a situation in the first place. But we all know our history with servers, gentlemen. We all know our history with IFMIS. We have tried automating before, Paul, but it has really not given us much. So would you agree with Dr. Stanley this afternoon?
In some essence, yes. But let's just go back for the 2010 Constitution. The law is here. This was not like 100% because it's a process. And that is why we have amendments and all over in terms of legislation. And the process that we are in, the issues that we are facing now, yes, it is legislative, but the letter and the spirit is not there. Because if we go on a negotiating table with our minds focused, we've already set our minds that yes, we need 300 whatever billion. And what does this constitution, if at all is an issue about money, yes, maybe we didn't have enough revenue collection. But what is the letter and the spirit? Because right now, there are some counties, salaries are not being paid. Where is this money? And in terms of I heard one senator was saying that health is devolved. So can we take this money from the health ministry and put it into counties? Is that really a solution? Was that what the Constitution envisaged, that, hey, if we reach a stalemate like this, let's take up some money and take it to the counties?
The drafters
and
of the
drafters. And secondly, the leader of the majority said, Adon Duale, the other day that, okay, now, it's like they had already predetermined the situation. They're saying now, okay, now, it's either you take this money or you wait. First of all, we get a supplementary budget again. That is the law.
Remember, there was even a proposal
Yes.
to have half of that money given to the counties, but the AG advised against it. Final words from you, even as we keep referring to the drafters of the Constitution in their wisdom. But let's have final words from you, Robert.
Two things. One, on division of revenue, I think the issue is very clear. There are shared functions, such as the health one, but that means they should share from the word go, from the planning level to budgeting to, you know, not just waiting at the tail and saying now we can go there and pick from there and bring here. Then the other thing is that it's all about a question of responsibility. Let everybody be responsible. That's my final remarks. Let the legislators be responsible. Let the Senate be responsible. Let the National Assembly be responsible. Let the counties be responsible. Let the executive be responsible. Let everybody who is charged with a responsibility be fully responsible to serve Kenyans.
Robert says, be responsible. Dr. Stanley says, be disciplined. Paul says, be reasonable. All these are issues around good manners. But can we really legislate good manners in the country? It has to take an effort, a deliberate one as such, for everyone involved to ensure and realize, first of all, that it's not all about them. The quality of lives of Kenyans is quite literally dependent on the decisions that the leaders are going to make. So at the end of the day, be disciplined, be reasonable, and be responsible. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in for the show. And thank you for watching the Daily Brief this Wednesday. It's been a pleasure briefing you on what's happening around you. Our sign language interpreter has been Walter Asewe. Have a good afternoon. Inside Business is coming up next.